Welcome to the Awakened Mumma podcast. Alethea, you're a wellbeing practitioner and educator. Your practice includes mindful movements like yoga, Pilates, as well as holistic health. Love having you on here today. You help people understand their bodies through practices of Ayurveda, and you're also a Reiki master. So today we're going to dive deep into the trauma because you help people release trauma, and we are going to go through our own traumas just to give people a look at where they come from and how they can release them. So tell everyone a little bit about you before we get started.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Krystle. I'm so happy to be here. I'm Alethea, and I am a multidisciplinary well-being educator and practitioner, like Krystle said. And the reason why that encompasses all that I do is because I do wear a lot of hats according to what the client might need. So practices include usually having a consultation with me, just a 15-minute free call, and then we go into different offerings of what I can give the client. I offer well-being practices such as mindful movement, that's yoga, especially restorative yoga and slower sorts of yoga practices that help the body to unwind, which are very trauma-friendly. I am an energy master, energy healing master, and I work with the main 7 energy zones in the body to help unblock tension and release trauma as well, and help people to sort out what's going on within, because sometimes it shows up physically in their bodies. And my newest little adventure I've been doing is starting to coach one-on-one and in groups and holding women's circles and events for women, specifically women, to help embody their highest self and to help them to understand how to work with their trauma, not against their trauma, how to work with their shadow self, as opposed from running away from those things. So that's what my practice all, has within it. That's what I offer.
I love that you mentioned women's circles. That's exactly where my journey began. Is I went to a women's circle. So I think it's such a powerful place just to hold space for women and create that sisterhood bond and really just support one another. So well done on doing that work, because I myself, since being a part of that, it's something that I love to do, is hold women's circles. And I see firsthand the tears that women shed just feeling held, heard, supported through the things that they're going through. And not a lot of women will have that circle to be able to share with other people, and or a place to really just understand one another. So yeah, if this kind of thing, it really speaks to me.
Yeah, Krystle, I want to add on that the reason why I felt so called to this is because as a woman myself, growing up, I didn't have a huge family, and the family I had was dispersed in the islands and New York City. We're all over the place. And I grew up feeling sort of alone. I had my sister, and she was my closest friend, but alone is a feeling, a real feeling. And as I began to grow as a woman and go through different transitions like divorce and different things, I noticed that certain friendships would come and some would go. And so I think women's circles were needed back then. Community, the village, the idea of the village has gone far. And I don't think that needs to be this in this day and age. We need a village. And I feel that people could go through these periods of feeling alone when they have support, even sometimes of friends that you don't know. You can connect, even like I am with you, with like-mindedness and feel that support. And so that's what women's circles are all about. So I created something from a need that I had that I didn't have back then. And I forgot to mention Ayurveda. Yes, I'm also an Ayurveda coach, and I'll go into Ayurveda later on in the episode and all that entails with holistic health.
Beautiful. Yeah, I can relate. I was going through the biggest traumas, I think, and the hardest time of my life when I went to a women's circle. And like you, I found myself alone. I had no sisterhood to even talk through what I was going through. So yeah, it is such a beautiful space to be held by other women. And when you can create that for other women because you felt the impact yourself, such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is.
So let's dive into the different types of trauma that people can have in their life, because we all have trauma, whether it is generational trauma, and that is something we really can't help. We're born with it. And the beautiful thing is that when we do the work on ourselves, we can break the 7 generations of trauma. So at least there's hope for the work that we are helping women do. And we also have childhood traumas, and that is not necessarily through fault of our parents. So in my case, to help people understand my childhood trauma, I had a low self-worth and a lack of confidence as an adult. And when I had to dive deep into where that stemmed from, it all started with my childhood. And that was having a brother who would bully me or call me names. And they started a relationship when I was 15, and I married that man when we were together for 26 years. And it was toxic. And so it was much of the same sort of thing. I was led to believe that if I ever left, that no one would ever love me. I was told those things. So I had a very low self-worth. And when I started to do this work on myself, I had to dive into where it came from. Why is this showing up in my life? Because look at baby Krystle being born into this world. I wasn't born with a lack of confidence. I wasn't born with no voice. Well, and so I had to look at, okay, this is why it's showed up, and this is not me. This is, I can release that. And so it really, really helped. It helped create a ripple effect in my family, and I saw my daughter's confidence grow, and it was really beautiful. I mean, it's not easy to go through having a look at past traumas. And so I'd love to speak into how that sort of presented itself with you.
Mhm. The loaded question. Honestly, wow. So I would say I have generational and intergenerational trauma, which is super hard. Like you said, it's not our fault, but somebody has to break it, right? Somebody has to be the person to say, this is enough. And, well, the universe chose me. And what that means is like so many generations before, and I'm from Jamaica. I know you can't hear my accent, but I do speak that way with certain family members. But in Jamaica, my father, when he was a little boy, he went through so much rejection. He was very, 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 very dark, way darker than me, very, very dark. And even though in the islands we have a beautiful mixture of different kinds of cultures, you would think that everybody's like, okay, it's just a black man. He was called things like black dog. He was rejected. Even teachers back then, they were allowed to, spank children. I mean, I remember him telling me about a story where, he was injured so badly in school. I won't go into it, but a teacher caused him harm and he had a slash in his forehead from hitting a desk, and it stayed with him the rest of his life. That scar was on his forehead for as long as I can remember. My father is no longer here on this earth, but he passed away almost 2 years ago. So all that being said, he had a lot of mental disarray. And my mother, she very shy, very submissive, very sweet woman. They married. And so that created my sister and I. And I was always the one that kind of was bucking the system, the black sheep, asking too many questions. At that time, children should be seen and not heard. But I realized there were some things that just didn't sit right with me. I didn't know when to go to my father to ask questions. So I had to look at his face. And if his face looked a certain way, I would shrink. And so from that moment, I was realizing that I can't trust the people that I'm supposed to be safe with. He was a pastor, and he would be so kind and loving and show up for other people. And then when it came back to the house, it was a whole different monster. And it's like almost like my house, which was supposed to be safety, became more like a jail cell. That's what it felt like, to be quite honest. My trauma started there. And the only way I was able to kind of get through, because I didn't know about therapy, the church didn't talk about all the things, I began to dive into music. I'm a singer also. I dived back into that this year, but I haven't sang for a long time because my throat chakra was blocked. But I would go in my room and put on Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, and blast that stuff, and write down songs and write poetry and read books. We didn't watch TV a lot in my home. We weren't allowed to. So I turned to words, I turned to songs, and tried to block it out. But it could only last so long. So I left the home pretty early, moved out, and that trauma followed me. I never dealt with it. My father, was put into mental institutions, coming in and out. And that just followed along with me. I felt like I had to take care of my mother, take care of things from an early age, take care of helping pay the mortgage because he could no longer work. So that trauma was heavy with me. That being said, like you, Krystle, I met another man, my past mate in another life. And unfortunately, I was looking to him for that father wound. I didn't know it then, but that's what I was doing. And I was like, he can protect me. And I got pregnant, and I was like, he can protect me. And I can get out of this place. And 11 years of marriage, I was blind to all the things. And this man happened to have the same exact patterns of my father down to the T. And so that's, some of that showed up in my children as well. I won't bring up that too much out of their honor, but that just shows how generational trauma shows up. And I stayed in that relationship and found the bravery because I was told by that person that I wasn't lovable and he was leaving. And that was a big trauma for me, big T. Also, I had other big traumas physically in my body. So all those things separated, as well as other kinds of abuse I've been through, just kind of built up. And I kind of closed myself in and bottled it up. And it wasn't until a later age that I began to realize that I could work with my trauma, not against it. So that's my story in a nutshell. There's so much. Might write a book about it one day, but there was so much going on, that I wasn't aware of. But it started so deep with my parents, that feeling of not being worthy enough passed down to me.
Yeah. When you said children should be seen and not heard, women or people of our generation, I'm sure, can absolutely resonate with that, because so often if we went to a family member's house, it wasn't in my household, but it was definitely when we would go to other family members, and that was children should be seen and not heard. The news is on, you sit there quietly, you don't talk, and you watch the news. And whether they're watching the news or not, because their adults are having their adult time. And that really, that's part of my lack of voice. And my brother was enough for my mum and I. I didn't grow up with my dad. I don't like to use the word naughty, but when you look at as a child, you would think naughty, right? That was my brother. Always in trouble. And yes, corporal punishment was a thing in school, and he was copping it. And so, yeah, well, I grew up with that lack of voice, and I feel like how you get treated by a man, I didn't really have any role models really around me. It's not, not growing up with my dad. I went into a relationship when I was 15, and he was my brother's best friend. So you can imagine he wasn't that far from what my brother was. So the trauma there, 26 years, I carried that into my next relationship. What I found was interesting was I did a lot of work on myself, and I thought that I had healed my traumas. And while there was a lot that I had done, what I learned was you can't heal relationship trauma on your own. So for any women listening and you feel like you're sabotaging a relationship because you feel like there's no relationship for you. Why me? I can't make this work. It's not you, it's your traumas, and you can heal them, but you have to heal them in a relationship. So don't sabotage it. Stay with it. Stay with that man who loves you and treats you right. I mean, don't stay if it's another traumatic relationship. But in my experience, I found my king and he treated me beautifully. But shit, did I go through trying to sabotage it, because I suppose that's my self-worth creeping in again, or just it was my conditioning of past relationship traumas where they would rear their head. And it was simple things like his love language. He would give me a gift, and gifts were always used against me whether I asked for it or not. And I hated being given things. So Aaron never let me sabotage our relationship. He always said, I'm not going to let your past traumas and triggers ruin this relationship, and we're going to work through this. And he was always reassuring to me, we're going to work through this. And it was hard because he was doing a beautiful thing and I was resisting it. I would go within and I would restrict, and I felt it within my body because my body went there again. If he does this for me, this is going to happen. He's not the same man, but my body reacted the same way. So I had to do that work all over again because I hadn't healed relationship trauma. Because while I can heal the relationship with myself, I can't heal a relationship dynamic. And so, yeah, I found that was really powerful to learn. I wish I had known to expect it. Would have been nice.
Oh my gosh, Krystle. Can I interject? I want to
Yeah.
share with you, as we spoke another day before this, and we have some things in common, and some things you just said stood out to me. You said that your body felt it, and that is trauma. That is actually one of the definitions of trauma. It stays in the body even after the event has left. after the event has occurred. And just like you, I found my king as well. And, Andrew, he's an amazing man. And he also understands divorce because he came from one as well. But for me as well, I brought some of that behavior in, even though I took some years to heal and some time to work through and be a single mama. I have a lot of work to do. And like you said, you have to kind of be in relationship to heal, because a person that you're with is just mirroring yourself back to you. And that's what I needed, was someone to treat me completely different so I could see how I was reacting and why I couldn't receive. And like you said, it's like you were sabotaging it. And I think people might be hearing this wondering, why would they do that? It wasn't that we were trying to sabotage on purpose. In my case, it was a protective barrier, a wall. And I'm the kind of person, I'm working through this still at 43 years old, but I was the kind of person that with my father, and there were so many bad events, so many clouded moments in my life that were gray, that for me, it's like, let me think about what could kind of go wrong just to kind of get myself prepped. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but that was my reality. So when Andrew would treat me with love, respect, kindness, tenderness, or make me a dinner, like you said, gifts were hung in front of your face, things being done for me would be put in front of my face in the past relationship and brought back up. So every time he would do something for me, Andrew, I would think I had to do something too in response right away, like pleasing, so that I could keep him and that he wouldn't have one over on me. I'd feel lazy if he said, go rest. I'd be like, why is he saying that? So you have to reprogram your subconscious mind. And so I sabotaged in the beginning because I figured if I can keep this up, and, he won't be able to be too good, because too good is not true. And, maybe 10 years down the road, the same thing could happen. Inadvertently, I was thinking those thoughts and reacting that way. And I'm working through it now. We were both blessed to have a person that we can talk things through. I told him when we got into this relationship, it's so important that we don't put things under the rug. I cannot live secrets. I cannot live with secrets. And that was how my family grew up. And so I'm so happy that he honors that, even though it's hard for him to, coming from where he's coming from in his past relationship as a giver. We're both givers, so we have to learn balance. But I want people to know that you have to be in a relationship. You have to face your shadows, whether it's a friendship, redoing something over again that didn't work in the past. You have to do it to mirror yourself back and see where you need to heal, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I could resonate with that about sabotaging and kind of like not even meaning to, but protecting yourself is what I think we were doing. The trauma was in the body. And even after the event left, the feelings were still there. So you have to deal with what's happening within. It's so important.
My trauma response was to shut down, which makes communication really hard. But having a background of 26 years of someone yelling and screaming in your face, my experience was shut down, because no matter what you do or say, it will and can be held against you.
Right.
No matter what you say, it's never right. And so I learned very early on, shut up, just don't say anything. And so, boy, did I carry that on in my relationship. So when I felt triggered, I just shut down. And so learning to communicate through what I was going through, what I needed, it was really, really hard. And I still find that trigger or trauma response is still there. And I have to actively make sure that I am communicating. But I also know that as a woman, if I am triggered, I also need space. I need space to process it first before I can then communicate, because especially seeing as I go into shutdown, I really have to have that time to process what's going on within me. Why did this arise, before I can then communicate? This is what's happening.
I shut down too. I stay in my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm working well. I've gotten better, but like you said, it's an active process and I have to process it, feel the feelings, then I can do something about it.
Because that damn monkey mind. Yeah. It's funny when you talk about it, you could just feel it within your body, like just going back there and talking about it. It's just, it feels so heavy.
Yes.
And let's breathe.
Pause. Yep. Here we are. Yeah.
Safe. We are safe. We are good. Yeah. So I hope this is landing for anyone at home, because it is just, I mean, we all have our traumas and our triggers, and whether you're aware of them, whether you've done the work on them, they're there. It's just so helpful to be able to recognize what's going on for you, what your traumas are, what your triggers are, and how you best can respond. So like I said, for me, I need time. I need time to process it before I can respond. Otherwise, I'll probably just react.
Right.
So yeah, responding is much better than reacting.
Yes, really is. Really is. And there's a practice, and I'll bring it in from what I offer clients, but I'm very authentic. I'm a very authentic person. I told you that before because I have no other way to be. It's almost like being so fake and being so secretive and having to wear a mask and having to be so good to be a pastor's daughter. Now it's like, baby, this is me. This is just how I am right now. I think authenticity is one of the highest vibrations before love. You can't even love until you do that. But, a practice that I do for myself when I'm processing is kind of meditative. And I want to help viewers that might be like, what do I do then? After you have that freeze and then you have a moment to come back into your body. And I always tell my clients this, or even in classes for yoga, I say, close your eyes or hold a soft gaze if that feels good for you. And start to notice what you can feel, touch, see, what you tasted before this moment. All the five senses need to be aware to bring you back into the present time, into your present body. And the second thing to do with thoughts is to think them, allow them to come kind of like a moving vehicle, a train or a car. You can observe them passing by because we don't want to act like our thoughts are not valid. So I do watch my thoughts, but I tell people do not become attached to them because once you do that, you're reliving the story of what happened, whether it was yesterday or 10 years ago. It already happened. That's what trauma is. It already happened, but we're still living in the story, even though it's past. And so we have to find a way to detach while still being observers. So I hope that helps somebody because that's what I literally do. If I'm stuck in a situation like that again, or if I'm working with someone, I can see them begin to tense up on my Reiki table. Or if we're talking about something, I'll just pause, take a moment, feel where you are. Notice if you're safe. Do you feel warm? Do you feel cold? What's going on? Observe your thoughts. Let them pass. Don't judge them. Don't become attached to them, but allow them to come. And so it's like that's the way to befriend those shadows. That's the way to honor yourself and validate what's going on without living in the moment, living in the story. Hope that helps a little bit.
There was some key words there that you said to do with our thoughts and story. Now, those two words, that's exactly it. Our thoughts are a story. So while we all have thoughts, right, and whatever we are telling ourselves, it is our story. They're not facts. So
Yes.
it's really important to recognize that because while my story that I'm telling myself, we all have a story. We're all telling ourselves a different story. They're just a point of view that we all have a different one. They're not factual. Recognize it and look at why that's come up. I think that it is just being aware of, okay, that's the past. And now what do I want from the future?
Yeah.
My past traumas and triggers, yes. Like when my self-worth came back up again recently and I was like, I did the work. Why? And yeah, really just recognizing that this is the past me. This is not me now. And honestly, I think it has to do with breaking another glass ceiling because every level up brings the devil up. So like we
Say it again. So what was that now?
every level brings the devil up. Like
Oh, shoot.
we were saying when we were talking offline about how people will get triggered and like an obstacle will come up and they will, oh, I'll just go around.
Yes.
No, the obstacle is the way. So you have to go through it. So we went on a trauma hunt. We're going on a trauma hunt.
Gonna catch a big one.
But it's so true. Like recognize the story and then tell yourself a different story. Where like, what do I want the future Krystle's story to look like? Do I want to be that disempowered woman with no voice? That was little Krystle. She's not here anymore. She doesn't serve me. So that's just it's really powerful to recognize, are you in your monkey mind?
Well, girl.
Yeah.
And this is why a lot of people are like, I don't like affirmations. It doesn't do anything. Anything that you say doesn't do anything won't do anything, right? It's the intention you put into words.
Yeah.
That's why I am are the two of the most powerful words you can use. I'm so careful of what I say out into the universe. It's okay to feel the feelings. It's okay to remember the story. But like you said, you're not that story. It was, but I am healing. I am moving forward. And so it's important to even write that out in a journal and make that affirm that to yourself that I am on the path. I see where I came from, but I'm not stuck. And for anyone saying it's too hard to go through, I know how you feel. And I literally was like, so many times I was on the bathroom floor, my bedroom floor, crying, or wish I could get out of my house, wishing I could have a normal childhood or a better relationship back then. But I had to go through head on, had to face it, had to face it. And that's why I say befriend shadows. I think shadow work, people are confused about it. It's like, get rid of that bad shadow. No, love her. Like you said, little Krystle, little Alethea, you did the best you could do then. And now you know better. You have more information. So
Yeah.
let's write a story. We need to be tender with that version of ourselves. I mean, people were unfriendly enough to those versions of our past selves, a little teenage and the woman. We need to befriend all those levels. Maybe write a love letter to those women. That's something I've done as a practice as well.
Yeah.
You
That is so
16-year-old,
powerful.
I see you with your pimples and how you felt unworthy and ugly and blah, blah, blah. But I see you now doing this, and this is how you begin to heal.
Mm. I did that too. Yeah, it's such a powerful thing to go through, and often as the words are coming out, so are the tears because it's
Yes.
just a release. Another thing I did was, is it Hapona, the Hawaiian practice where I did it in the shower. Thank you, I love you. Now I can't even think of it because I've got a mind blank. But anyway, I did that in the shower. It's a really powerful way to release. And now what I did was I thanked myself. I did one for me, but I also did one for my ex because I needed to release what I was holding. Now, this wasn't for him, but man, did the tears flow. And because, I mean, water has such powerful properties, and water pouring over your head while you're doing this, I just felt so much release and so much better coming out of that shower than when I stepped in filled with all of this trauma and this built up, not rage as such, but just hate towards
Yes.
what he had done and what I had been through, and why I had stayed so long. So I did one for him, but doing one for me was also really powerful to release myself from, I didn't know better, and what I had done has served me because I can't change my story. I can't go back and rewrite. And I also had to go through all of those things because I believe I signed a soul contract to meet with my now husband, and that meant that I couldn't have done this any sooner. So I had to go through what I did because I wouldn't change having three beautiful kids with my ex-husband. And so I had to stay to put me on the path where I am now. So
That's good
having
stuff.
having that was just, and like you said, the love letter, just some beautiful things that you can put in place to just release.
Yeah. That's the work that I do. There's fancy titles for what I do, but honestly, I'm a guide. I'm an intuitive guide giving you a toolbox that you can use and pull out when these things happen instead of grabbing around looking like you're looking in a purse for a lost item. You're not ready when these things come up. Things are going to happen. Life can freaking just slap you in the freaking face, right? And what better thing than to have a toolbox and to figure out, I know what to do here. And so that's what I want to help women do, is to create that self-care toolbox, self-love toolbox that they can return to over and over when these things happen, because we have to ground ourselves and know who we are, because the world is enough of telling us who we're not. So we have to know who we are and have our practices. Like you said, I wrote a letter as well. I'm not going to lie, I have another level to do, another level that came up to me, the spirit revealed to me that I have one more thing left to do to my father and to that other person. Even though I belong, there's no feelings or anything, but it's a mental jail. And so I'm going to do another letter, and I'm going to do a burn ritual of forgiveness.
Yeah.
I forgive father. I need to burn some of the words and things that stick with me that he said when he wasn't in his right mind. He may not have meant it, but those words stay.
Yeah.
Yes, they break your bones. But words, they do hurt. They do hurt.
Yeah.
So I encourage women to Google or get with, other kinds of therapies and figure out what toolbox works for you. What 5 things can you do when these hard times come up or when you're triggered? What can you do to take care of yourself? I'm going to share one more thing that I do because I want to share the audience from an authentic place. When I'm having a cloudy day, right? I don't like to call it depressive day, but a cloudy day, because they come, and sometimes it could be hormonal or it could be just things that we don't know that are showing up in our body. I'll have days where I'll tell my husband, I just need to sit here and surround myself with my things that make me comfortable and watch a movie I've seen 10,000 times. And for me, it's usually You've Got Mail, Runaway Bride, one of those, chick flicks. And so I'll get myself my old blanket. That thing is so tattered. It's got birds on it, but it makes me feel good. My old ass fuzzy socks and my tea. And I'm in my ugly sweats. Like, don't come for me. That's just how I'm looking that day. And I'm on the couch or in the bed watching that movie I've seen because I know it feels comfortable to know what's coming next. And I'll just do that and have my day and eat my little unhealthy fat girl foods and not go bad about it for that one day. And then I bounce back the next day. And I telling women this to give them permission that you don't have to wait one time a month with your period to do this. Sometimes you need to just get your tools, get your crystals, get your Bible, get your journal, get whatever it is to support you and have them around you when you're feeling low. That's another way to have something in your toolbox, tangible. That makes sense. As a baby, we had like teddy bears and the binkies. Why did we stop having that as adults? I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what that brings me comfort.
You mentioned hormonal. I want to go there because I think it's so important to recognize that. So there are in our time of our month where our hormones are great, it's so easy to love the person you're with, love yourself, all of those things. But in that time where our hormones are dropping and your partner breathes,
They
why would you do that? And just know you're not going to be that crazy bitch forever. It's just, also know that I'm not saying it's acceptable to act like that. Just be aware. Be aware that that is the time of the month where it is expected that you are going to need some time to yourself, and it just
for me,
be slow.
Period, and also talking about good old
Perimenopause.
but all stuff. I'm going through it. I'm just going to be honest. I'm going through it. There's no shame around it. I'm having to explain, hey, baby, it's just a new version of me. Hi, honey. Welcome to the 43-year-old that's going through these weird ass emotions and nothing's right and the mouth is dry and, you feel ugly one day and pretty the next. And so,
yes,
of it. I was like, you signed up for it, remember? But, also.
We have a saying in our relationship and it's forever. And so when things like this come up, we'll look at each other and be like, forever.
Like a Darth Vader voice. Totally. But you know what? That's a moment to practice that asking for help, that expressing what you need. And it's not that we're being selfish. I also give him what he needs. If he wants to build his Legos or do his hobbies that he likes, and we both want to listen to music or he wants to listen to records, it's so important to have your alone time and then your together time.
Yeah.
Because you project on that person constantly, like you said, constantly do that. It's bitch month, it's not like that, but it's definitely letting him know, hey, this is where I'm at. It's kind of uncontrollable. It's raging. I'm going to take a moment, but this is just where I'm at today or for this week. But woman, you got to have your toolboxes and you got to give yourself grace. We go through and our bodies are constantly changing and evolving. So that's all.
I find the Flow app really helpful because I have the partner part of it where it will literally give him warnings that we're in that time of the month, maybe start to tiptoe. It doesn't say that, but it does warn him. But it's funny because while we have that app, I'm in perimenopause. And so I might all of a sudden have this like emotional day and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And he's like, are we at that time of month already? Or is this perimenopause? And my response will be, I don't know. I guess I don't.
Oh, but I'm here. I'm trying to figure it out. That's literally where now he's been so good about it. Sometimes it's just like, Babe, I don't know. It just feels like
Yeah.
and so many layers, ladies. And so also those traumas come up, those triggers and traumas show up again when we're going through those hormonal times. Because guess what? We're raging. Our body's on different spectrums inside. So we have to be gentle with ourselves and have that toolbox.
Yeah.
And express what we need and be direct about it. Be kind, but be direct about it. Because as a woman, we tend to over apologize. And I've stopped doing that. That's a
Yeah.
part of my healing. All that people pleasing and I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Guess what? Instead of saying sorry, thank you for being patient with me. Thank you for waiting. That's what I do now.
That, wow.
Oh, did that hit
Yeah.
something?
Ah, apologizing is such a trauma response and something I still do. And I can't, like, I don't do it as often, but it's just, I mean, I'm 43 this year. It's a long time of saying sorry, right? So it's a habit that I have to break. But when I come into this relationship, that's when Aaron pulled me up on, I'm sorry. What do you have to be sorry for?
Yes.
And he's like, how? Because it's something as simple as, sorry, maybe I took a couple of minutes extra than what I thought of, whatever. And he's like, well, how about you just word it like, thank you for your patience.
Yes.
You have nothing to apologize for.
Honey, I just did that like a couple months ago. I'm not like an expert at it. I
Yeah.
just learned saying that I was saying even in the supermarket, somebody be in my way in the aisle, and I'm saying, I'm sorry, excuse me, I'm sorry. It's like, what am I
Yeah.
doing? Just I need to pass.
You just run into me with a trolley. Sorry. What?
Mentally saying sorry. And also, what we do a lot is we say, I'm sorry, and then we fawn. The fawning response. I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist, but I know enough to know when I'm fawning. And fawning just looks like being too nice. Being kind is great, but being nice to get a response or to please is also another issue. And so I just want to call those little things to people to see where it lands, how it lands with them, to see maybe, oh, I'm doing that.
Yeah. Are you a people pleaser? Because that's such a trauma response. Yeah.
I was, and I still have to catch myself big
Yeah.
time. What can I do to prove myself at this job? I got to be not just a facilitator for yoga, the best. But, it's like, who am I measuring myself against? So it's like, there's a lot of inner dialogue.
Absolutely yourself.
Listen, I look crazy sometimes talking to myself in the car, but I have to have an inner dialogue because that's where my brain is sometimes. I have to talk myself down and
Yeah.
remember, it's okay that I have this emotion this day, or I was 5 minutes late this one time because I'm a stickler for time. These things happen. And if I
Yeah.
have grace, they can hold grace for me. And that's where that forgiveness, self-forgiveness starts as well. Those little tiny things.
When you said forgiveness, it a little, call it a brain fart. I just remembered the the Hawaiian prayer practice,
Oh, these
and what you do is you repeat it over and over again. And so it's a mantra that you repeat. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And so you literally just, you think of, like I did, the person that you want to go, that you've experienced all these traumas or whatever has happened, and you repeat over and over, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And while I clearly didn't feel love for him, I'm not loving him, don't get me wrong, that you can love someone for the good things that came out of it. And so he gave me 3 beautiful children. It was a time in my life where I would never take back. So thank you. Thank you for giving me that. And so if you're going to be apologizing, use this prayer, use the prayer to do the apology work, because it was honestly just incredible to do.
that. I'm going to write that in my journal and keep that in my toolbox and add it there. I like that one.
Yeah. Yeah. It was so good to, like, so powerful the first time that I went back and I did it for me, to thank the past me and release that trauma triggered woman and little girl that was inside me. And because when you think about it, if your response to things is telling yourself negative things about yourself, so maybe your go-to is to, I'm ugly and I'm not worthy and I'm this, and like whatever it is. Now look at yourself in the mirror and picture that little girl, or if it helps to look at a photograph of yourself, and I dare you to say those things to that little girl, because she doesn't deserve that.
Yes.
You wouldn't speak to your best friend like that. So why would you speak to yourself like that?
That's a reframe of the mind that I like. I really, really like that. And also for me, it's not just only, things like, oh, you're ugly or whatever. It's like because of my trauma was situational and things around me, my surroundings, I would catch myself saying things like, oh, this always happens. This always happens. Man, I have to still work on that right now. When I see something happen, I have to remind myself, this might have happened. This might be the third thing today that piled on me. It's not my story. This just happens to be a day with a lot of collective activities that are making me feel this way. And watch my words, because we begin to pull ourselves back into the story when we say this always happens, because we're telling ourselves that's the story.
Yeah. See, I told you. That's the evidence your body, your monkey mind is looking for. See, no, this isn't my story.
Things happen for me. Today I'm learning something else through this, but good things still happen for me. It's like those are little things they have to tell yourself.
Yeah. What can I take out of today's lesson?
Yeah. I did it today. I did it today. I had to listen before this podcast. I was like, oh my God, so many things happened today. And I was like, I get to do this podcast.
Yeah.
So that happened, but I get to do this podcast.
Yeah. We always have something that we can be grateful for. And love and gratitude is the highest frequency there is. So when we can come from a place of gratitude and practicing gratitude, whether that is going for walks and doing gratitude for your senses. I'm grateful for my sense of smell, so I can smell these beautiful flowers or the ocean breeze or sight, all of the things that are around you. That might be a simple place for someone who struggles with gratitude.
Yeah.
Whether it's journaling gratitude and like I can sit down and just fill up a page of things that I'm grateful for, but it's also so powerful to say why you're grateful for them, not just I'm grateful for family, because it's just part of that.
Yeah. Because you know what? Things can go wrong and that's okay. And we can be real about that. But also it's like where you put your focus is where your energy flows, is what I always say. So I try my best.
Focus goes where energy flows. 100%.
But it's like, okay, what can go right though, instead of what's going wrong? What could go right? And trying to focus on what has gone right. Yeah. Those are the things that I really try to do on a regular basis. And I always tell people I don't teach from any experience I don't have. I don't give a practice I haven't done. And if I'm in a space where I know that I'm not doing certain things for myself, I'll pause in my business, or I'll not take certain one-on-ones, or I'll pause on an event, really, because I cannot serve. I cannot serve from a false place. It will show up and it will be seen. And so I really try to be that authentic in my business, even if it means I might miss $1. But you know what? What's for me won't miss me, and the universe provides. But I'd rather give people a real experience than just beat the dead horse because I said I would be there. I try to really think about what I'm learning, and I'm always a student. We're always students, not just teachers.
Yes, we are always learning, and there's always going to be new levels to go through and more things that are going to come up for us because we've worked through so much that now we're working through another level. So while you've done the work, don't give up because you think you've hit this spot and you think you're in a sweet spot, you got over your traumas. Like growing it's growth and evolution over a lifetime. We really need to just continue to do the work.
Yeah.
I am so grateful for women like you because I have had an incredible mentor. I do have more than one mentor, but I have one mentor that has really stood out to me, that has made such a difference in my life, that everything I went through, she was there going through to this day. I don't know how she does it. So from something as dramatic as I went through a divorce and I'm now an independent mum, all of a sudden, Kira has released this self-ignited women's coaching call about independent mum life because she's just gone through the same thing. Whether it's that or perimenopause, we entered the same year and she's developed this incredible program for women in perimenopause that's all backed by the science and research. She's got me. It's having women like her in my tool belt where I will literally have a thought of this supplement and it's all natural, kind of wondering whether it would be beneficial for me. I'm going to look into it. And then all of a sudden, Kira sends a video of this new supplement she's doing or has been doing, because she'll always trial it first and then go through all of the benefits and all of that sort of stuff, even though she's done the research before she does. And I'm like, how does she know? And then literally just yesterday's call, I had recently gone through my self-worth had come up again. And I was like, oh my God, I did the work. Why? And then on yesterday's call, guess what it was all about? And I was like, it was about traumas. And I was like, this woman, no matter what it is, she's always there holding space for me and guiding me through. So I love women who are able to hold space for other women and just really guide them. And that's why I do what I do. But
Me too.
I just want to honor you for what you do and to be able to really help women with a varied approach, because it's not a one size fits all. So women come to you and they might have a trauma from here and a trauma from there and a trigger like this, and you're going to be able to help them come back to their right mind to be able to give them the tools to work through it.
Yeah. It's not hard work. I call it sacred work because I don't take it like, and when people are trusting me with their information and with their stuff, their baggage or whatever it is, it's sacred. And I always tell them, I may not have all the answers, but I'm a guide, I'm a vessel, and I clear myself so I can pour into people, but I always lead them back to themselves. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to become dependent on anybody, overly dependent on anybody, because people are humans, right? But we have to know that the medicine is within. And that's the message I want to leave with women today. Is like, the medicine is within. We just can't always see it. We need someone to help us pull it out or to give us the tools to access what's already inside. And I'm not saying I don't believe in therapy. I love therapy, but I didn't have a psychotherapist or anything like that growing up. I did have some therapy as an adult a little bit, but a lot of self-healing, some mentors along the way, good friends, good tools, programs, self-research, books, reading, the things that I did for safety as a child, reading my books, listening to music have become parts of my everyday therapy. And so, I always tell people, when you're going through a hard time and you feel lost in your life, just look back to what brought you joy as a child and do that thing for enjoyment. Even if it's not for money, do it for enjoyment. Sing around the house. Go make a painting, even if it looks like a stick figure. If it brings you joy, then do it.
I have that same message. I love to ask women, what did you like to do as a child? Because when they say, I don't love life, there's nothing, I don't enjoy anything. Well, there's got to be something. Did you love dancing? I loved dancing. I loved skating. So now I love to take my daughter, and I love to blade. Well, my daughters, but my adult daughter lives, it's about 16 hours drive from me here in Australia. So, and it's doing things like that together, because that brought me joy as a child. That brings my girls joy, and we'd love to go on blades together. Where at the last time we did it was before she went on holiday. She's my middle daughter, my middle child, is with her older sister right now. She's on holidays. And before she went on holidays, we were like, there's nowhere suitable to rollerblade here, because we live in a very beautiful, quiet beach town. And there's the footpath is not a concrete path, because it's right at the back of the beach. So it's a dirt path. You can't rollerblade on that. And the roads are not necessarily great because of all the rocks, but we did it because, well, that's our option. We have to drive half an hour to go to another town. And while that's possible, there was also not many spots that were great for that. So we were like, well, let's do it. We're going to have to. And we literally went rollerblading in the rain on the roads, because that's what we had. And we had the best time because, well, it was raining and we were trying not to slip and fall on our ass. And just doing the things that brought you joy as a child is just such an important thing to do as an adult, because we did all enjoy something as a kid, whether that was a sport that you can now take into your adult life, writing, whatever that is.
I hope women are hearing this. Don't stop playing. Don't stop playing.
Yes.
Like pockets of joy. You don't have to be bored. You don't have to feel unfulfilled. I'm going through a period of life where I'm trying to refine those things too, because things become mundane, get in your schedule. But, you are the one in control. And if you don't like something, you're going to have to change it.
We used to spend a lot of time. I grew up on the Sunshine Coast, so a lot of beaches, and we would go for bike rides and things like that as a child. So for me, being out in nature is my home. And we literally live the street behind the beach, so we don't have an excuse. It is the King Reef walking track. We are literally right. I mean, it's croc country. So when we're on the beach, we are very aware that there are crocodiles. But walking at the top of the beach, if the water's murky, or walking just along the beach track, being out in nature and taking that time for grounding. So we'll always make an effort to, whether if we're going down on the beach, obviously thongs off, let's ground with the earth. Or if we're out just pounding the pavement or the dirt as such, my precious feet don't love the rocks. When we come back, we'll play on the grass or something. It's always making time to make contact with the earth, because I found that I've always been a bit of an earth child, and it brings me peace.
Me,
Yeah.
me too. Let the sun kiss you. Let the earth touch your feet. You know, do what you can to reconnect, because nature's a part of us. Mother Gaia is us. Is a part of us. Just sometimes stepping outside, getting that vitamin D just for 5 minutes can literally change your day. Literally.
Yeah. I just want to say that in the beginning, where we mentioned you could feel within our bodies when we were talking about our triggers, to now the feeling in my body where we're talking about the healing that and all of the things that we're doing to just reset our souls, I can just feel.
Don't you feel it?
Yeah.
This is me.
Yes, yes. But something that did come up when you said independence, I just want to go there for a second before.
Yeah, sure.
This was like a few sentences ago. Let's rewind. For me, part of my triggers was my hyper independence, because after becoming an independent mum, I wanted to ensure that I had my back, and I made sure that I don't want to rely on someone, because if I get hurt again, if I become an independent mum again, then it's okay. I've got me. And that was not just independence, it was hyper independence. Now, women, if that is you, recognize it, because your man needs to feel like he is important,
Valuable.
like he's needed. He needs to feel that. Otherwise, why is he there? So I had to be aware of that so much that I was often reminded, you need to let me in. So that's another thing. Hyper independence is another thing that can come up.
Trauma response. It is. Trauma response. I did it too. I catch myself doing it. I got it. I'll do it. And my plate's full. I don't got it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I need
Yeah.
to ask and accept what's being given, and not see it as something that's being held over me if I'm being offered.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. The accepting help. It's so hard, isn't it, when it's a trauma response to, yeah. Yeah.
you brought that up.
Yeah. I just thought that was something that was so important to look at, if women aren't realizing that they are having that response within themselves to push their man away who is trying to do right by them and be there for them. And you're Miss Hyper Independent. I don't need you. I've got this.
Maybe it doesn't.
You don't need to do it all.
He has things that he wants and needs, and that you're able to, you know, give him that space, and so does he. And so it's a share.
Yeah.
Share.
So, is there anything that I've missed today that you want women to know? Do you have a message that you would like to share with women?
I do. I do. My closing message for women would be, you, like I keep saying over and over, you are the medicine. Medicine is within. And I want that to like land with someone. I keep saying it for a reason, because it's okay to get help, but looking all over the place, asking questions, asking for advice all the time turns off the ability to have intuition and to learn ourselves, to learn our true north, our inner compass. Because if we're still or quiet enough, we know the answer. Our gut will tell us, ugh, doesn't feel good, or oh, I need to do this, or that feels great. And so I want people to start to learn, women to start to learn to trust themselves a little bit. And that brings me into a tool that I've written for them. It's just a little ebook. It's literally like $10. It's on Amazon. All right, trusting your intuition and letting go of limiting beliefs, which is all about what we're talking about here, because limiting beliefs are things that were put on us that we carry with us, so stories. And so it's kind of like a guide and a prompt guide. So I give actual activities in there to help you learn how to sharpen your intuition, learn spiritual signs, figure out what your gut is saying, and practical things. I even give you room to write your own notes, to ask yourself, why does this show up? When did it show up? And how can I work with it? And so look into that and add it to your, self-care toolbox. But you are the medicine. The answers are within. Like Rumi says, the answers are within. It's a great poet out there. And they're not always out there. They're within. If we take the time to still let our thoughts come, observe them, and take time to just be, you'll be surprised what comes up if we begin to really work with ourselves, not against ourselves. So I want
I will
people to
put
know
the
that,
link in the show notes for people.
yeah, absolutely. There are doctors out there, there are therapists, there are coaches like us, and all these things, but they can't help you if you're not a co-creator and a participant in your own healing. You have to want it. And then
Yeah.
you have to work with what they give you. Because if you keep going to, oh, I'm going to get my tarot card read here and there, but you're never doing anything with information, these cycles are going to keep repeating. And I learned that the hard way, right? So don't put anybody on a pedestal. Remember to do the work that people are helping you with. And then you'll begin to blossom and grow on your own. And maybe you will be able to help someone with your story, you know? Let that be a healing for someone out there, that you are the medicine. I am hoping that this landed with some people. I'm hoping that people can see they're not alone. Even if they feel alone, there are people like Krystle and I who are accessible. And maybe you're the person to start that woman circling where you live. You never know what you need. And if it's not there for you now, you can create it.
Yeah, beautiful. Our women's circles, I have this beautiful big, it's like 6 meter bell tent. And I got married on the beach here. And literally, I've done my women's circles where we got married. And you have the ocean right there. And I collaborate with another woman in our circle, in our business. And we do yoga on the beach. And to come back into the tent and do things like journaling and go through. And like I said, that's when the tears come up. And when you say it's within you, I just want to recognize that, because you are you and that is your superpower. Nobody can be you like you. So be authentically you and just do the work. And if it's something like therapy, know that therapy isn't right for everybody, because it is for the amount of people that I've spoken to that have done therapy and they've not chosen the right therapist or the right type of therapy. It can put them off, because then they go back into it's me. Nothing works for me. And so
Yes.
finding the right healing modalities and like this kind of work, you can't go wrong, because you're looking within yourself. You're being given these tools. So I think that this is a really powerful place to start, because it's all within you. And, being the work is dependent on your own experiences, your own traumas, your own triggers. It is all individualized. So yeah, I will put all your links below so that people can go and find you. But if you want to give a shout out to your platforms, where can people find you?
Well, I've kind of lessened some platforms because I was doing too much a couple of years ago. I'm just being real. But I have one Instagram page now. I used to have two, but you can find me on Instagram at aligned underscore movements underscore 1111, and on Facebook over at Aligned Movements. Those are the two main places that I am. I'm in North Carolina. Here in North Carolina is where I work, but I do work with virtual clients as well. My website is under the works and should be available. My new website should be up around late summer, early fall. But if you guys want to book a service or a free call with me, I have a booking site that I know that Krystle's going to put up here, but it's a Calendly site, Aligned Movements, and all my services are there, explaining exactly what I do. And basically what that does is just show you when I'm available, and you can click on it. I'll get the email and we'll start working together right away. But I look forward to hearing from you guys. And don't forget, I have that ebook. And sometimes, when people reach out to me and I have the space on Instagram, I'll just do a free chat, even through DM. And I kind of go intuitively with how I feel. And so I'm really here for the people. It is a business, but it's not just business. It's my calling. I want people to know that I really take what I do seriously, and I care about the healing of the collective, especially women. So
I love that. I want to know from you guys listening, if you are going through something, let us know. Maybe we can give you some guidance. If you've gone through the work yourself, I'd love to hear what sort of healing modalities that you used. And if you're brave enough to share, I think that this is a powerful thing for women to have that space where they can talk to one another about this. And sometimes just talking and feeling heard is enough
yeah.
to have the drive to keep going. And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for today. I really loved our chat.
Thank you, Krystle. Honestly, this platform is amazing. You want to be sharing it, not just because I literally will be sharing it, because this is another tool. Women need this.
Yeah.
They need to be awakened as mothers and women to know
Yeah.
that there are many, ways to heal, and there is support out there. You
Yeah.
created a safe space. I'm grateful for you.
And like you said, many ways. Don't just do one thing and then think that you failed because it didn't work. The work is ongoing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Continuous.
Yeah.
We're
I'm
on
off
the journey.
to Pilates this morning because it's another way that I am healing my body.
Yes, mind body connection. Got to get that movement. Move out the trauma. Move out the
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Get out of my hips.
I love being here with you. It feels like I'm talking with a friend, and we are friends at this point.
Yeah. Yes. We will definitely be in touch.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thank
today.
you.
If this episode spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Your voice matters here. Drop a comment and share your biggest takeaway, because your insight could be exactly what another woman needs to hear today. If you're ready to be part of this movement of empowered, awakened women, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Every time you do, you help spread the message further, and together we create the ripple effect. Thank you for being here, for showing up, and for being part of this journey. Until next time, keep rising, keep shining, and stepping into your power.